So this is, of course, about transformations, and one way we interpret that is systems where we have one kind of media coming in and a different kind of media coming out. And so there it was sound coming in, and they would design how they wanted sound to be interpreted with visualization. They were designing sound synthesizers from movement. So it was movement coming in. So they used different, like Connect or different kinds of tools so that they could move in front of the screen. It was all about how you create sound by doing things with your hands. One group used their face to create the sound. This is the sound group, and they have movement rules for how they move with respect to one another. They kind of follow one another around, and they have a set of 5 different movements that they do with their arms. But they're each holding a wand for motion capture, so they can control something with that in real time. We see movement and we hear the interaction with the environment. So they're actually controlling the environment, and then they're moving in response to it. The structures module, they designed furniture with a goal was to provide how much weight could they support with this structure. So they learned all about hanging chains, and how if you hang a chain, you get and you flip it over, you get an arch that optimally distributes weight. They explored using fabric covered with plaster that was pinned, and one group was told to use fabric. One had a bias cut, one explored the use of holes, and one explored the use of folds. And they made different kinds of furniture, and on the last day we put weight on them and we crushed them all. One group was the sound group, and the other group was the light group, and the prompt was to create rules for how everybody in the group should move in response to one another and in response to the environment. So the sound group, their environment was sound, and the light group, their environment was those theater lights that you've seen, and so they were also supposed to control the lights and the sound.
The setup that we have here is basically the same kind of theatrical lighting that you would see in any kind of theater, like if you imagine the lighting in like a Broadway stage or something like that. This is basically the same type of hardware that we have running here. So this over here is the lighting control panel, and so what it lets us do is basically just control the color as well as the brightness of any of these individual lights. So you can mix them and merge them to create any color that you want. And one of the cool things we've been able to do in this course is control these lights programmatically, like through software. So what Jonathan was showing earlier was basically a way that you can use the motion capture to point at a light, and then that data is just sent wirelessly to his computer, and then his computer sends a command to this console saying, okay, I want that light switched on. So having everything in the same space allows us to kind of programmatically go between one medium and another. Max over here is working on a really cool, it's something like a kind of a cat and mouse game, something similar to Pac-Man, but it's a collaboration between a person who's playing a game on the computer and a person who's actually in the physical space. And the lighting is what the person is reacting to. So in other words, it's kind of like using theatrical lighting, which you normally see in the setting of theater and performance. We're trying to use it in different ways. So one of the ways we're using it is games and interactive media.
This is a motion capture recording of me. I'm wearing these athletic wristbands that we've put these motion tracking markers on. And you can kind of like group each distinct set of markers as an object. So it's kind of tracking my joints here. What I'm using this for is to kind of control the motion of a robot and kind of make it be expressive and kind of like mimic the emotion of a human dancer.
we're simulating a mother's womb. In actuality, we're thinking about playing with the idea of imagined memory and nostalgia, and sort of just going back to the time when you were a kid. We're planning on projecting images from the top
Onto the sheet.
yeah, onto the sheet.
And we're also building like a soundscape that the person will listen to that builds off of like real-time data from like their heart rate. And based on that, it'll play different sound clips, different music.
I think my favorite thing actually is that it's on wheels, which one means it's portable, but two is that you kind of feel like you're in a little bit of a cradle when you're in there. Every movement, it kind of rises to meet you a little bit. And then it's really nice to have a little blanket on you and your little pillow, and kind of to watch some of the scenes inside. And it looks just the same as we see it on the outside, on the inside. And then to hear a distorted version of your own heartbeat with the sensors is like really trippy and interesting, and definitely what I would imagine it would be like in the home.
One thing that we read about on the internet are people who are visually impaired who struggle to go shopping for new clothes and need someone to help them get dressed in the morning because they can feel what the fabric feels like, but they can't see what color it is. We wanted to allow them to have a device that was wearable that they'd be able to hold up to a piece of fabric and feel what color it is to help them make that decision about what to put on during the day.
There's a dial here that indicates the color, the hue content. So if I hold it on something red or something green, you can see the slider goes to where green would be indicated on this key, where red would be indicated on this key, or where blue would be indicated on the key.
How do we actually build this? Well, we use pretty much every single technology we have here in the lab. We used a 3D printer to create this block here, which mounts the dial. And also we created little slider heads using the 3D printer. These are all little components that we designed in-house with CAD software and printed. So all in all, this project really incorporates many different components from a wide range of sources.
So I'm doing a project working with this little thing, which is called a leap motion sensor. And basically, whenever my hand's in this area above it, the computer can see where my hand is. So you can do different types of motion control with that. And I'm looking at ways of letting you paint in 3D with your hand. So you gesture around and it appears on the screen.
We're making an infinite hourglass. So instead of an hourglass where like all the material falls through and then it's over, basically how ours is going to work is using water as like the substance in the hourglass. It's going to fall through the middle and then be pumped back up to the top so that it never really like empties out. It's just going to keep going. So it's just kind of like a whimsical but also hopefully thoughtful thing about like time, and you're waiting for time to pass but it doesn't. I'm a Viz Arts major and I've been doing a lot of artwork this year related to time and questions about how we perceive time, and I've talked to Hannah a lot about it, and so I think we were both just thinking about it in other contexts, and then we had this open assignment. While it's like thought-provoking, also introduces a technical challenge as like a good application of the ideas that we talked about in this class.